You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
And now, a word from our sponsor, SpyCloud, the cybercrime analytics leader. SpyCloud disrupts cybercrime by telling you what criminals know about your business and your customers, so you can take action to prevent ransomware, session hijacking, account takeover, and online fraud. SpyCloud constantly recaptures and analyzes new data from the criminal underground, including credentials, session cookies, and PII siphoned from malware-infected devices. With knowledge of the specific exposed data criminals have in hand from InfoStealer malware on managed and unmanaged devices, security teams can respond with a more efficient and effective process called post-infection remediation that fits seamlessly into existing incident response frameworks. Get SpyCloud's post-infection remediation guide outlining the 7 steps for preventing a malware infection from becoming a full-blown ransomware incident. Visit spycloud.com/cyberwire. That's spycloud.com/cyberwire. And we thank SpyCloud for sponsoring our show.
Australia, the UK, and the US. With their powers combined, they are AUKUS. And AUKUS have some encouraging next steps announced today for their trilateral agreement for space domain awareness, known as DARC. The 3 countries said they will each be hosting a radar site to support the mission, with the first one in Western Australia expected to come online in 2026.
T-minus 20 seconds to LOS egress. Go for deploy. Roger, roll.
Today is December the 4th, 2023. I'm Maria Varmazes, and this is T-minus. AUKUS announces the Deep Space Advanced Radar Capability Program, NICFI and the Bezos Earth Fund to provide free access to satellite data. 2 space companies have been awarded major contracts to work on a UK-led climate satellite mission. And our guest today is Jaume Sanpera, CEO and founder of Sateliot. Now let's dive into today's Intel briefing. As we mentioned at the top of the show, the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia announced a trilateral initiative called the Deep Space Advanced Radar Capability today, following the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding in September. The Deep Space Advanced Radar Capability Program, known as DARC, will provide 24/7 all-weather capabilities that will increase AUKUS nation's ability to characterize objects deep in space, up to 22,000 miles away from Earth. DARC will see a global network of 3 ground-based radars to be jointly operated and will assist in critical space traffic management and contribute to the global surveillance of satellites in deep space. The unique geographic positioning of the 3 nations means that DARC can provide global coverage, including detecting potential threats to defense or civilian space systems. The Memorandum of Understanding between the 3 countries will last for 22 years. U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Space Policy, Dr. John Plum, said this of the DARC agreement. Space domain awareness is foundational to responsible space operations, and it is essential for responding to activity in space, whether that activity is routine or hostile. AUKUS has accelerated the delivery of the DARC initiative, and DARC will improve interoperability between the AUKUS partners. This is a key priority for the AUKUS Advanced Capabilities Program, which they have termed Pillar 2, a bold generational opportunity for AUKUS to harness and uplift innovation enterprises and industries, remove barriers to cooperation, and together develop advanced capabilities for our warfighters. The first DARC radar site is being constructed in Australia and is expected to be operational in 2026. All 3 sites are expected to be operational by the end of the decade. And we are in the second week of the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change's Conference of the Parties, You might otherwise know it as COP28. And many a space program and a few nations have used the conference to build new relationships and announce new contracts for Earth observation. So let's dive into some of that were announced over the weekend. One of them is Norway's International Climate and Forest Initiative, known as NICFI, and the Bezos Earth Fund have announced a new partnership to continue providing the world with free access to high-resolution satellite data to support efforts to stop the destruction of the world's rainforests. The partnership adds to the $43 million previously granted by NICFI to establish the NICFI Satellite Data Program and complements the Bezos Earth Fund's investments in protecting tropical rainforests, enhancing data, monitoring, and accountability. NICFI will contribute 100 million Norwegian krone, which amounts to approximately $9.2 million to a new phase of the program for up to 4 years. The Bezos Earth Fund expects to contribute a similar amount to the program, pending satisfactory conclusion of the upcoming procurement process. And another announcement out of COP28, Airbus UK has been awarded nearly £95 million and Teledyne E2V £9 million through the UK Space Agency's membership of the European Space Agency to deliver the next phase of the TRUTHS mission. Now, TRUTHS, which stands for Traceable Radiometry Underpinning Terrestrial and Helio Studies, is a UK-led climate satellite mission. And it will collect the most accurate measurements of energy coming into the Earth from the Sun and light reflected off of Earth's surface. The funding to Airbus will go towards satellite design and development, while Teledyne E2V will work on a sensor called the Hyperspectral Imaging Spectrometer Detection System and its associated electronics. This instrument will make measurements of ocean and land surfaces to support studies of Earth radiation budgets and improve observations that support the modeling of climate, land use change, the carbon cycle, agriculture, and pollution. And this next story is an incident that seems straight out of Hollywood or maybe an episode of For All Mankind. Russian cosmonauts came to the rescue of a cargo ship heading to the International Space Station after the vehicle experienced a guidance problem. Cosmonauts working at the control station inside the ISS remotely guided the Progress cargo ship into port after its automated rendezvous system lost alignment during final approach. The vehicle carried 3,423 pounds of equipment and crew supplies, 88 pounds of nitrogen, 926 pounds of water, and 1,135 pounds of propellant used to help maintain the station's orbit. Can you imagine if that had not been able to dock? Thankfully it did. And in a surprise announcement late last week, Amazon said that it had purchased rides for its Project Kuiper satellites on rival SpaceX rockets. Amazon has secured 3 launches with SpaceX for its satellite internet service vehicles, which will compete with SpaceX's Starlink services. Amazon had previously secured rides with owner Jeff Bezos' rocket company Blue Origin, a decision which was later criticized by shareholders. Amazon has signed with SpaceX for 3 Falcon 9 launches in mid-2025, and financial terms of the agreement were not disclosed. This second International Orbital Debris Conference is being held in Texas this week, and the goal of the conference is to help promote orbital debris research activities in the United States and to foster collaborations with the international community. The 4-day conference will cover all aspects of meteoroid and orbital debris research, mission support, and other related activities. South Korea has conducted a flight of a solid-fuel rocket carrying a satellite over the sea near Jeju Island amid growing space tension with neighboring North Korea. Monday's mission was the 3rd successful test of the rocket's technology after 2 launches in March and April 2022. The rocket technology was developed at the state-run Agency for Defense Development with a booster and satellite produced by South Korea's Hanwha Systems. And Australian-based space technology company Newman Space has successfully completed the first series of on-orbit tests of its propulsion system, the Newman Drive. Newman Space is the first commercial entity to fire a thruster in space that uses molybdenum as a solid metallic propellant. The company's Newman Drive was integrated into a Skycraft 3 satellite, which was launched into space in June of this year. Since launch, Newman Space has been working to demonstrate the patented pulsed cathodic arc thruster technology. The on-orbit testing was designed to confirm the resilience of the Newman drive to the launch environment, to carefully validate the system's electronics, to demonstrate charging of its power capacitors, and to conduct a test firing of the thruster, all of which were successfully completed. Newman Space has now concluded the first of its demonstrations in space, with further missions scheduled later this year and in 2024 as part of a sequential program to deliver further flight heritage. Newman Space has also been working with kinetic launch company Spin Launch to see if their propulsion system would work on the Spin Launch system. And that concludes our briefing for today. And as always, we've got more details on all the stories we've mentioned in today's show notes. Just follow the links. We've added an extra one in there on NASA's workforce woes. Oh no. You'll find them all at space.n2k.com and just click on this episode title. Hey T-Minus crew, every Monday we produce a written intelligence roundup, and it's called Signals and Space. So if you happen to miss any T-Minus episodes, this strategic intelligence product will get you up to speed in the fastest way possible. It's all signal, no noise. You can sign up for Signals in Space in our show notes or at space.n2k.com.
And now a word from our sponsor, 6sense. 6sense provides award-winning cloud-based automated endpoint and vulnerability management solutions to streamline IT and security operations. With its advanced platform, businesses gain complete visibility and control over their infrastructure, reducing IT and security risks and optimizing operational efficiency. With 6sense, you'll get real-time alerts, risk-based vulnerability prioritization and remediations, and an intuitive automation and orchestration engine so you can focus on your core business goals, confident in the knowledge that your enterprise is secure, compliant, and running smoothly. Visit 6sense.com to learn why enterprises choose them.
Our guest today is Jaume Sanpera, CEO and founder of Sateliot. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with what the Internet of Things, or IoT, is, but using it in conjunction with satellites is pretty fascinating. So I started off by asking Jaume about their use of narrowband IoT coverage.
What we saw is that in the world, there are 20% of the world that has mobile coverage from the MNO, from the mobile network operators. In this 20% of the world, there are already 5 billion things connected, IoT devices connected. In the other 80% of the world, there was only a satellite option. Satellite option, they are based on standard proprietary protocols and devices, which means that they have no economies of scale. This, it makes super difficult to use it because of the cost of the device and the cost of the monthly quota, the RPU. Then what we have, what we did, we started 5 years ago. We look at the standard devices, the NB-IoT, the narrowband IoT devices that the mobile operators are using, and we saw that the same devices, the hardware capability of being directly connected to a satellite with some firmware modifications. That's why we went inside the 3GPP. The 3GPP is the global organization that set up the standard. And we start contributing to the 3GPP in order to push the standard to the release 17 that was approved last year. And this is just a firmware update of the devices. And with this firmware change, the same device, the same $5 device off the shelf that today Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile may be using in the United States, or Claro in South America, or Telefonica in some places of the world, this same device, it connects directly with our satellite. What we did after that...
with a firmware update.
Yeah, a firmware update.
That's impressive.
And additionally, what we did is we connect, for first time in history, a satellite constellation to a 5G core in order to simulate for the mobile operators that we are just another mobile operator, and being able to do a single roaming agreement with them. Then for the final users, it's absolutely seamless. They go from to be connected to a base station of the main mobile operator to be connected to our satellite without doing anything, or exactly the same that they do when they travel abroad, okay? That they are connected to a third-party mobile operator. The mobile operator recognize the device, ask the main MNO that and drive us back the information. Then for the final user, absolutely transparent, and for the mobile operators too. Okay, for the mobile operators, they are just signing roaming agreements with us, and we deliver back the information from the final customers. We are an extension of coverage for the mobile operators.
That makes a lot of sense. And IoT has so many various use cases. I was looking at your website, and you have a ton of use cases. I'd be curious to hear where specifically, what kind of customers are especially interested in your services.
Let me just introduce a concept of low Earth constellation. Low Earth constellation, now satellites, they are very close. They are 500 kilometers from Earth, okay? And they go around the world every 90 minutes, okay? This means that one satellite goes from every place in the world twice a day, okay? Then with one satellite, you have full coverage everywhere, but just twice a day. Then we keep launching satellites. Right now we have 2 satellites. We're going to have 4 more satellites beginning next year. With these 4 satellites, we are going to be able to deliver only 8 messages per day, which means that at this moment we are only covering certain use cases that do not need real time. They are flexible on the delay and the latency. That's why we are signing a lot of agriculture, a lot of agrotech, cattle management, infrastructure monitoring, a lot of smart metering in water. These are very good examples. Smart metering needs 1 message per day. Then for them it's perfect because the smart meter is in the middle of nowhere. Then once a day, wake up, sends a message, and sleeps down. This is one of our contributions to the standard because what everybody asks always is that, oh yes, but then the IoT will spend the battery much, much faster than when it's connected to a base station. And the reality is that it's not, okay? The device has the same battery life, okay, that it has when it connects to a base station because we transmit the ephemeris of the satellite once every month, and the device knows exactly when the satellite flies over, sends the message, sleeps down again, okay, till next time that they need to send some information back.
Okay, so especially in those applications where something is extremely remote, and we're talking years before anyone could potentially get to them, that would make a lot of sense. So that would still not impact the battery life, and those devices could stay exactly where they are for potentially many years before anyone would need to go to them. So that makes a lot of sense. So in terms of what your company is coming up on doing, so you're going to be launching new satellites soon, it sounds like, and I know there's been a lot of funding that also has come your company's way. I'm curious, any recent news or anything coming in the future that you'd like to share about what's next for your company?
Oh yes, we have these 4 satellites already manufactured that we are going to launch with SpaceX beginning next year. With these 4 satellites, we are starting the commercial service that since today, what we have been doing is testing the satellite and the technology that we have been developing for the last 4 years. What has surprised us is the number of the devices that need to be connected in these places where there is no coverage, okay? This was something that we really believe that the market has been highly underestimated because a standard takes all, okay? It's absolutely different since today. There were some solutions coming from satellite, but it always based on proprietary protocols and proprietary devices. And people just want a standard. People want something that it does not depend on Sateliot, it does not depend on any company that here they know, okay, they may switch to one provider to another provider if they are not happy with the service. And this changed everything because the number of devices that are being subscribing our services, it's increasingly high. Every month we got more people that want the service once it will be ready next year. Then what our forecast is will take us to launch up to 64 satellites by 2025. With 64 satellites, we will be having a satellite flying over any point on Earth every 20 minutes, which takes most of the use cases. Most of the use cases in IoT, okay, very few use cases in IoT, it's real time, okay, even logistics. When you talk about, for example, for containers, maritime containers, it's what they're asking for. It's around 2 hours revisit time. In the case of terrestrial logistics, they ask once every hour. And there are some use cases that needs, we have found all type of use cases. It's amazing. Every day we discover new use cases with bees, with high power poles. Okay.
Did you say bees?
Yes, bees. They want to control the bees, okay, from their distance, okay, that it's, wow. I exactly say the same, okay, you said bees. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one. That's interesting. Huh.
We always say, okay, that a connected world is a better world. That's why we're at the same time signing with NGOs in order to deliver free of charge connectivity in places. We have signed with SOS Amazonia, that is take care of the forest of Amazonia in order that to maintain it. We have signed with World War Fund in Africa in order to track the animals that are endangered species. Then all these things that today it's absolutely impossible to do because of the cost, the usual cost of a satellite device. It's 200, 300, 400 euros each. Okay, and when you say no, we may have it for $5, and people say, well, may I buy it? No, there. Okay, in the same shop that you have bought the last 20 devices that they are using in agriculture, for example. The benefits is enormous. Water savings goes up to 40% using IoT. Okay, and there are countries like Brazil, where it's one of our main regions where we have more customers. Okay, that 70% of Brazil has no mobile coverage, and 20% of the GDP of Brazil, it depends on agriculture. When we join these two things, okay, they say, wow, this is a revolution because we may have connectivity for IoT, for agrotech, like US, Brazil, it's quite advanced country. There is a lot of technology companies that want to have agrotech implemented. And since today it was impossible because other solutions were or satellite, which is too cost, okay, for the vast majority of cases, or the other solution was to deploy your own, for example, LoRa radio coverage, which is
difficult.
It's difficult. It's difficult to deploy. It's super difficult to maintain because you need batteries or panels, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to, they are always, of course, because it's part of the game, okay? They are in the middle of nowhere. Then if something happens, you have to send them people, which takes a lot of time. Then our solution, direct to device with an IoT, which is the same that people is using, is perfect for the objective.
We'll be right back.
Now, a word from our sponsor, the Johns Hopkins University Information Security Institute, currently seeking qualified applicants for its innovative Master of Science in Security Informatics degree program. Study alongside world-class interdisciplinary experts and gain unparalleled educational, research, and professional experience in information security and assurance. Interested U.S. citizens should consider the National Science Foundation's CyberCore Scholarship for Service program, which covers tuition and a $6,000 annual professional development allowance, as well as providing a $37,000 additional annual stipend. Apply for the scholarship and the fall semester by March 1st. Learn more at cs.jhu.edu/MSSI.
Welcome back. Now, we've covered space and medicine a few times on this program, and there are a lot of groups working on long-term space travel that focus on astronaut health, and there are others looking at the benefit of microgravity for studying medicine in space, and now the U.S. Air Force wants in on all of the above. And they're looking to launch a new military research working group focusing on space defense-related medical solutions. And of course, this group needs a cool kick-ass acronym for their name. And we've heard of COSMIC before, but this time it stands for the Clinical Operational Space Medicine Innovation Consortium. It will be established as a committee combining performance and health research capabilities through the expertise of participating organizations. Future COSMIC programs will be led by the Air Force Research Laboratory and the Ohio-based 711th Human Performance Wing, or HPW, Human Effectiveness Directorate. Once operational, COSMIC will be working with the 711 HPW at the U.S. Air Force's largest medical wing, the 59th Medical Wing in San Antonio, Texas. Major Dr. Craig Noldley, an emergency physician and 59th MDW COSMIC Steering Committee co-chair, says COSMIC represents a significant milestone in our collective efforts to establish defense space medical research capabilities, and that by combining the strengths of both organizations, COSMIC has access to research expertise across a continuum of both clinical medicine and human performance optimization. Yep, there's a ton of scope to this new initiative, and admittedly, details remain vague on what they're going to be studying, but we think this is a move in the right direction. That's it for T-Minus for December 4th, 2023. For additional resources from today's report, check out our show notes at space.n2k.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. You can email us at space@n2k.com or submit the survey in the show notes. Your feedback ensures that we deliver the information that keeps you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. We're privileged that N2K and podcasts like T-Minus are part of the daily routine of many of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector, from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K Strategic Workforce Intelligence optimizes the value of your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your team while making your team smarter. Learn more at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Alice Carruth, mixing by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester, with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jen Iben. Our VP is Brandon Karp. And I'm Maria Varmazis. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.